E-Butter go crazy.
YouTube, what's good, guys? It's your boy TD, and I'm back again with another live, guys. And today's live is going to be on Week 16's winners. So I'm just going to name out 5 guys from each position that I thought had a great week that I think I need to let y'all know about intel. That way you can pick these guys going forward into next year and also make decisions for the waiver wire or whatever you may need this for. But it's just give you some context of the wrap up, the recap for the week, just to see what people did and how teams played. So, guys, with no further ado, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. This is cutting edge content, guys. And also sign up for the OnlyFans. It's only $10 a month. But also I offer bundles, guys. If you get one of the bundles, I got server discounts. You want to get that, be able to get me at any time, the personableness where you can chop it up with me, ask me any questions about fantasy football. Also, you get consultations and I can help you with your drafts. So let's start, guys. All right. So let's start with the quarterbacks. The first quarterback that I thought had a great week that I think that you could maybe use for next week or going into next year is Baker Mayfield. Now, listen, we know Sean McVay is a great offensive coordinator, and that's why I tell you, another man's trash is another man's treasure. Another man's trash is another man's treasure. So he goes over to Sean McVay, and you get a good offensive coordinator to know how to focus the offense around a quarterback strengths, and you get what you got. Like Baker's been playing decent the last 2 to 3 weeks. So guys, I think you can use Baker and some of these weapons on this team. Now I like Tutu Atwell, but I was wrong. But I'm still thinking Tutu Atwell is going to be a discount guy going into next season. But he's just not getting the alpha targets. But this offense is solid. So moving on. Another guy that I thought was a winner for week 16, guys, and I think that we can use this intel going into next week and also next season is Daniel Jones. Yes, I said what I said, Daniel Jones, guys. And the reason why I think Daniel Jones had a really good week and I thought also having a good season is because of Brian Daboll. Again, this is another offensive coordinator, and this is some of the videos that I'm going to be making in the offseason. Chasing offensive coordinators like Mike McDaniels, Brian Daboll, Sean McVay. These guys can take bad quarterbacks or another man's trash and make it into a treasure. So I love Daniel Jones. I thought he played solid. He's also playing Indianapolis next week, which is a green bean matchup. I think it's fine. Go ahead, roll Daniel Jones out there if he's your quarterback in Dynasty or redraft. Next, guys, is Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold. Yes, guys, Sam Darnold. And the reason why I like Sam Darnold, guys, is I think Sam Darnold is playing with house money. That's what it is. Now, do I think he's a great quarterback and he's going to be a starter next year? No, I don't think that. But he's playing with house money and with better coaching and a better system. He's playing okay. Sam Darnold is an okay quarterback. That's why I tell you guys, you sitting out here calling these guys saying they suck. Football players, that's why they're always angry at fans because they think y'all dumb. They're like, man, that guy suck. We might not be good as one like Tom Brady, but I don't suck. I work very hard to get where I've got. So that's like calling a guy at work that's been working at a job 15, 16 years. He's been at a job 15, 16 years or maybe 8 years. He might not be the best at his job, but he shows up for work every day. And most people won't even show up for work, but you want to say he's a terrible worker. Same thing with Sam Darnold. Now, listen, he's playing Tampa Bay, but Tampa Bay defense, even though they're like still got a lot of good pedigree on that team, they still not shut down everybody. I think Sam Darnold will be okay playing with DJ Moore and Deontay Foreman, Chuba Hubbard. Great run offense. They dominated the run out of 5 weeks. They've been a top run offense. So I like Sam Darnold. Moving forward. Next is Gardner Minshew. Yes, guys, Gardner Minshew. And the reason why I'm mentioning Gardner Minshew as a winner is, guys, he came in as a backup role and played good and against Dallas Cowboys. With that's a very optimistic defense where they get turnovers. And Gardner Minshew still look good. So I'm telling you, if Jalen Hurts doesn't start next week, you need to play Gardner Minshew. Don't worry about it. Also, going into next season, this is a great handcuff to Jalen Hurts. If Jalen Hurts go down, you got Gardner Minshew that can come in the game and throw it to these alpha weapons like A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. So, guys, I think Gardner Minshew is going to be fine. He's playing against New Orleans. New Orleans defense is not no cakewalk, but it doesn't scare me when you got weapons like the way they got. And I think Gardner Minshew can be solid against New Orleans Saints. All right, moving on. Last guy, guys, is Dak Prescott. Yes, he's a winner from week 16. And the reason why Dak Prescott is a winner, guys, even though he had the turnover, he kept pushing, and he ended up with a 3-touchdown game, right? So I think they can ride that wave out. So guys that are trying to play matchups that got Dak worried about him, just roll him out there. If you don't got a better quarterback to play, go ahead and play Dak. He's playing Tennessee. Their defensive corners is not that good. The way you beat Tennessee is passing the ball. So I think Dak Prescott got a great matchup, a great championship matchup, fantasy football championship matchup against the Tennessee Titans. It's just that simple. All right, guys, let's move on to the running backs, and it's Cam Akers. So one of my biggest winners for running backs is Cam Akers, guys, and he boomed. And this is where I tell y'all to stash and hold on to your players. A lot of people are very volatile when it comes to their football players, where they drop guys because they dud them 1 time or 2 times or even 3 times. I'm like a dynasty player, even in redraft. If I believe in a guy's talent in his situation, if it's not hitting right away, I'm still holding on to that guy. because I'm not going to give my trash to another man. That way he come back and beat me in a fantasy football championship. I always tell y'all that. Y'all don't never say nothing about that. I be seeing the questions, and I'm like, guys, why'd you drop him? Oh, well, he was done my head. Okay, that's you. You had to move on. I didn't move on, and I'm gonna show you after this week, guys. We're going after the championship week. I'm gonna show you my teams how I held on to players. I never dropped them. So it's not always to win a championship, but I do believe you cannot drop players early because they start deading. You got to believe in the situation. There was no running back. Kyron Williams wasn't good enough. Darrell Henderson wasn't good enough to beat out Cam Akers. Sean McVay has a connection with Cam Akers. It's like a soul tie. He drafted him. He liked him. Before he got hurt, then he got hurt. And I still think Deshaun McVay wanted to make a believer out of people with Cam. And now Cam is back, and he's doing that. So let's move on. Next guy is D'Onta Foreman. And the reason why I like D'Onta Foreman, guys, is I think that they're gonna use these running backs. This is the way they're gonna try to win games. So going into next week, I think you play D'Onta Foreman, even though he's playing against Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is not the matchup that we known out through the last couple of years. They can be had. So to me, I'm playing D'Onta Foreman. Do I feel great about it? No, I don't, because I think Chuba is more of a guy that's gonna get out in space and have a safe floor in PPR. D'Onta it's got to be touchdowns. So I'm gonna roll him out there. I can't have him scoring on my bench like he did this week, right? He scored on my bench because I benched him against the #1 run defense. So I think you just got to play D'Onta Foreman and let him and let the chips fall where they fall because of the way that this team is built. They're going to attack you with the running game and hit you with play action and try to go to DJ Moore. That's the way this team's game plan is. All right, next winner for us running backs, guys, is Devin Singletary. And the reason why I believe Devin Singletary is a winner is because I believe that they believe that they need to run the ball with the running backs in order to get the defense to come up to be able to target Gabe Davis and Stephon Diggs. That's why I was on these guys all year, guys. If you go back to my handcuff tandem running back videos, I talked about Devin Singletary and James Cook being one of these top guys, top teams with the running backs. Because I knew Josh Allen, if he keep running, it's not going to help this team. It's actually going to wear Josh Allen down. So I love Devin Singletary. They're playing against Cincinnati. Cincinnati defense is no cakewalk. But when it comes with Josh Allen, I love a running back that's with Josh Allen because you got to respect Josh Allen. So you're not going to be able just to sell out for no running back. So I love Devin Singletary going for it for your fantasy football championship. Next is James Cook. Yes, it's James Cook. And guys, the reason why I'm talking about James Cook, because this is a squeeze backfield. Devin Singletary, James Cook, if you got both of these guys, if you can, you play both of them. If you got one, you just play that guy in the flex and call it a day. James Cook is very explosive. They want to use him. That's the next dynamic, the next phase of this offense to go win a real Super Bowl. So that's why I'm talking about James Cook. And again, I said this was going to be one of the most efficient offenses in the league from the beginning of the season. I told people that you want to get these running backs. See, everybody want Derrick Henry. If it ain't Derrick Henry, they don't want it. And then you wonder why you don't never win a fantasy football championship because you think Hondas and Nissan are garbage cars. No, they get you from point A to point B. Devin Singletary might not be Christian McCaffrey or none of these guys, but he still is a running back. And look at what he's doing in the fantasy football playoffs. So that's why I want to tell y'all that, guys. That's why I want to talk about James Cook and Devin Singletary. Don't be dropping these guys, and then you get beat with these guys that go 0 RB. They pick them up off the waivers, and then you sit around like, what? This is crazy. It doesn't make sense. He waited the week 8 to go off, and Cam Akers this and that, because you got to hold on to these guys. This is how fantasy football go. This is how real life football go. Everybody's not going to score 30 points for you every week, guys. So, all right, let's move forward. Last but not least is A.J. Dillon. And listen, guys, those other winners, I just want to get my top 5 winners from my perspective. But A.J. Dillon is a winner. He's playing against Minnesota this coming up week. I love A.J. Dillon is because it's cold. And listen, this is one of the things that I was just talking about a few seconds ago with James Cook. A lot of people was angry at A.J. Dillon. I wanted him to score and have more touchdowns early in the season too, but they tried to do it a different way. They tried to do it with Aaron Jones and try to let Aaron Rodgers cook and all this, and it just wasn't working. If you go back and look at this team, when they winning the last 2 to 3 years, it's been when they got a running back that scores a touchdown like a rush. They controlling the line of scrimmage with a running back. Aaron Jones is fast and dynamic, but sometimes you need somebody to get you 3 yards, not a 7-yard touchdown. Sometimes it's we up by 10 points and we on our 20 and it's 3rd and 2. Do I need to play action and try to get my quarterback where he can get strip sacked? No, you need to give it to a big running back and let him plow. First down, 2 or 3 minutes off the clock. That's what A.J. Dillon does, and that's why I can pick players and know, like, well, I like this guy right now. And then he started hitting me in cold weather because I know this is a bigger back. This is how they win. Whenever he get a scoring touchdown, they win 95% of those games. So that's why I love A.J. Dillon, and I'm champion A.J. Dillon. All right, guys, let's move on to the wide receivers. My first winner for Week 16, guys, is Isaiah Hodgins from the New York Giants. Now, listen, I told him, one guy asked me about him. I said, look, I like him, but I'm not sitting Mike Evans for him. Now it's time to win on next week. If somebody wanted to sit Mike Evans for Isaiah Hodgins, I think it's a little cute. But what am I to say? This guy's been doing really good for the last 2 or 3 weeks. He took over the Wan'Dale Robinson role, the slot receiver Sterling Shepard role. So Darius Slayton got the deep threat role, and Isaiah Hodgins got the slot role. And the slot role in day ball offense, like with Cole Beasley and that type, they hit. So Isaiah Hodgins, guys, is the guy that I think you should have on your team. I think he's a PPR monster. I would make sure I would try to have this guy in my lineup next week playing against Indianapolis in the slot. So Isaiah Hodgins has been eating, guys. Make sure you play him. Moving on. Next is Devontae Smith. And Devontae Smith is a winner, guys. He's been with Gardner Mitchell coming in as the number 2 receiver, he hyper-targeted him over A.J. Brown. So to me, if you ask me, if you got Devontae Smith, I wouldn't worry about him if Minshew's playing. And if Jalen Hurts come out there, I'm not telling you to bench him, but you know to lower your expectations because they're going to try to hyper-target A.J. Brown a little bit more. But with Gardner Minshew out there, who's going to get all the majority of the targets? I think it's Devontae Smith. It could have been a strategy where we see a weak corner and we want to attack the weak corner with our number 2 wide receiver. That could have been a strategy. But I think it was more that Devontae Smith and Gardner Minshew have a chemistry. And I think he was really not hyper-target him. So I'm not saying he's better than A.J. Brown or anything. I'm just saying don't worry about starting him in your championship game. He's going to be fine, especially with Gardner Minshew being there. Also, they play in New Orleans, which that doesn't match. That doesn't scare me with the matchups with the corners. All right, moving on. It's Greg Dortch. Yes, Greg Dortch. Now, listen. Since Kyle is out, I think Greg Dortch is the way they're going to try to attack teams. He's short, quick balls. Trace McSorley, he cannot throw the ball downfield. He's garbage. I hate to call another man garbage, but I didn't even see him complete a pass that was above like 5 or 10 yards. So that's why I'm saying that. So maybe I'm wrong for saying garbage. I just talked about that. But I don't think he have a job out there this year. Why are you a backup quarterback and you can't even throw the ball to a wide open guy standing from 10 yards, 15 yards out? But anyway, Greg Dortch was eating. So guys, I would love to play that against Atlanta. He's playing Atlanta in your fantasy football championship. So I love Greg Dortch. I think next year, guys, this is going to be a good slot guy in this offense. Rondale Moore is hurt, but I think Greg Dortch has established himself as a good professional wide receiver. So I like Greg Dortch playing against Atlanta. You can play him if you need to. Moving on, we got 2 more wide receivers. It's Jahan Dotson. He has arrived, guys. I wouldn't be surprised if he start out targeting Terry McLaurin next year. It's just what it is. Terry McLaurin is a beast. I'm not throwing no shade on Terry, but Jahan Dotson is just like that. So with these new wide receivers coming in, guys, sometimes rookies beat out the alpha guys. He's playing Cleveland. Cleveland secondary is pretty decent, but it's not nothing to scare me. I think Jahan Dotson gets plenty of opportunities with Carson Wentz coming back into this offense. So I'm fine with playing Jahan Dotson. Think he's going to do work for the rest of the season. This is a dynasty buy low right now, guys. If he go one more big game before the season over, nobody's going to give him to you. But right now, you still could buy him because I would give up a 2nd round or a 3rd round pick for him. I don't want to go in the draft. I don't want to draft a wide receiver that's in this coming up draft. Not saying that there's a lot of good wide receivers. And some of these guys are going to hit and they're going to be alpha guys. But when I already got a known commodity out there with like a Jahan Dotson, and I know a new quarterback is going to be coming on this offense, I'm going to go ahead and grab that in Dynasty. Now, I'm not telling you to draft this guy super early in redraft or anything, but in Dynasty, I think Jahan Dotson is one of the best buy low wide receivers that's young in the whole NFL. So It is. Go make sure you play Johan Dotson this week coming up in your fantasy football playoffs. All right, guys. Last but not least, a winner for this week is Drake London. Yes, Drake London. That's another buy low. Make sure you go ahead and buy low now before he go, because if he hit and people start talking about him, as soon as the season over and they push him and say, look what he did when Desmond Ridder come in, it's going to be over for you. Because he has the draft capital where people will be attached to him just like that. People feel good about top 10 picks they're attached to him, just like they attached to Jalen Reagor, but it didn't work out. So with Drake London, I think he is a good wide receiver. So go buy low on him. He's also playing Arizona. They defense is, I'm not saying they're garbage, but I'm not scared of them. So Drake London is the alpha guy on this team. He's going to get hyper targeted. Play him in redraft next week, guys, and for your fantasy football playoffs. Alpha wide receiver. Moving on to my tight ends. All right, guys, the first tight end I want to talk about is Tyler Higbee. Now, listen, am I champion Tyler Higbee anything? No, I just got to mention him because he went off for week 16. Now, listen, that shows you how a guy can be garbage for a while and then he start booming. That's why, guys, I don't drop players. Now, listen, I pick up a lot of players and I do move through players. But if a player that shows me something that he's special, I'm not dropping him. I'm not giving it up. I cannot live with myself if I drop a player and I play against a guy and he beat me with that player. That's how I play. So that's not playing scared fantasy. That's playing fantasy where I got to go down with the ship. How I'm going to go down with the ship. That's how I'm making those decisions. How I'm going to go down with the ship. I'm going down with the ship. I'll lose with players that I believed in. I'm not going to go down and lose to players that I believed in, but they didn't do nothing for me and I dropped them and then somebody picked them up and they beat me. I can't live with myself. I'm going to call myself dumb and stupid doing that. That's just how I see fantasy. So Tyler Higbee is a guy that you should have just held on with the tight end position, volatile as it was, right? So I just would have put him on the bench because I know he's starting. Nobody's taking his snaps. So I just would have held on to him. Also, he's playing against the Chargers, which doesn't scare me next week. So if you have to start Tyler Higbee, that's fine. All right, moving on is George Kittle. And George Kittle is one of these other guys where even though he was like, it's George Kittle, he has a lot of draft capital, but it doesn't matter. A lot of people was upset about him. I was never upset about it. It wasn't George Kittle's fault that he wasn't having great games. He wasn't dropping balls. He might have had a couple drop balls the whole year. Other than that, George Kittle was playing great. I'm just talking about him basically just to mention because I know y'all was upset. I was never upset. He's been killing for me in the playoffs. Now, I had a bye the first week with him, but this week he went off again. So, guys, make sure you hold on to your prized possessions. Do not get upset and drop the bag. Do not get upset. You drop the bag. They're playing against the Las Vegas Raiders, so he's going to hit. All right, moving forward. Next is T.J. Hockenson. This is another thing where another man's trash is another man's treasure. I didn't think T.J. Hockenson, he's not a Travis Kelce or Kyle Pitts or Mark Andrews. But if you put him on a team with a lot of weapons, he can eat now. The man is solid. He know how to play the tight end position. He know how to run routes. He can get open, but he's not when he's getting double teamed and gonna make somebody fall and one hand you. That's not who T.J. Hockenson is. He's a good clog in a system where he's gonna do what he needs to do. And you see him. Sorry about that, guys. You see him now that he has guys like KJ Osborne and let me see real quick. Guys like KJ Osborne and Justin Jefferson around him and Adam Thielen, and now he's getting one-on-one and he's eating. That's what I want from a tight end like him. I don't want him to have a lot of pressure on him to beat double coverage. I want him just to be the tight end that I drafted him to be. And that's what he's doing, guys. So T.J. Hockenson next year, that's a guy that you should feel good about picking up where his draft capital going to be because it's going to be like in the late, it's going to be like round 9 or something. Like you only got to get this guy early. Also, I think that T.J. Hockenson, playing against Green Bay is going to be a good matchup too. It's going to be a good play. I think this is going to be a fantasy extravaganza. It's going to be a lot of points between Green Bay and Minnesota. All right, guys, let's move on. We got 2 more guys, and then I'm going to address everybody's question. Thank y'all for tuning in. Make sure you hit the like button, guys. Okay, next is Pat Freiermuth. Guys, with Kenny Pickett, Pat Freiermuth, and especially tight end premium is a beast. I mean, he's getting 6 to 8 catches a game. The guy's really good. He's a good blocker. He's a good route runner. He's only going to get better. He's going to be one of the top tight ends. The tight end position is actually going to be a strong point in a couple of years. It's been weak, but it's another wave about to come through. You're gonna have guys like you're gonna have the old guys like George Kittle and Travis Kelce still doing work, but then you're gonna have guys like Kyle Pitts and T.J. Hockenson and Evan Ingram and Pat Freiermuth. You're gonna have guys like that that's gonna be doing really good. It's gonna be about 10 or 12 really good tight ends. That's what I believe now. It's not now, but it's coming. So yes, guys, I love Pat Freiermuth. He's a PPR machine at tight end. All right, moving on. Last but not least is Evan Ingram, guys. And I got him in. He moved up as a top 5 tight end. And you remember what he was in New York Giants? He was Garbino. But again, I talked about this. This is why I championed Daniel Jones. Everybody said I was crazy. I knew that when Jason McGarrett is because I'm a Cowboy fan, I knew he's not good for young players. The system is too complicated for this era where you need young guys to come out and hit immediately. But when you have to break down a bunch of stuff, it's tough. And Evan Ingram was thinking too much instead of playing football. Now that he's with Doug Peterson, and Doug Peterson is part of that Andy Reid tree where they simplify the game, all you got to do is go out there and just run an out route, man. If he's shaded inside, run an out route. If he's shaded out, run an in route. So it's just simple. So that's how you get guys to play good football. And that's why I love Andy Reid. I love those systems like that where the young players can just go out and play. They don't have to think too much. And that's what Evan Ingram is, guys. And I think he's going to be solid for you this year and going into next year. Would I buy low on him? Yes. I'm not spending nothing. Like, I'm not spending over a 4th round for him or a 3rd round. So don't go buy I wouldn't go and try to spend a 2nd round just to get Evan Ingram. I wouldn't do that. But I do think he's a good buy low if you can get him for a good price, like a round 3 or round 4. All right, guys. So let me get to the questions. Robert, he says flex Moss, Deshaun Jackson, Deion Jackson or Kelly, PPR, going for the win. I have Eckler and Pittman. I'm down 480 in my point system. Okay, that's his point system. I would flex Moss. That's just me. Now listen, let me see. If you in you in PPR, you can go Deion Jackson. Deion Jackson's gonna catch 5 to 6 balls. Because Nick Foles got to check the ball down, and he will check the ball down. That's what Nick Foles does. So I believe Deion Jackson could get 5 to 6 catches. Excuse me, but who's going to get the honey touches, close to the goal line touches? It's going to be Zach Moss. So you got to make that decision of you want the guy that's going to get the goal line touches for touchdowns, or you want the guy that's going to be getting catches all over the field. So yeah, bro, that's the play. I like Moss a little bit more, but since it's 4-point PPR, Jackson is a good play. Isaac, what's going on, bro? Make sure you hit the like button, guys. He says, you on point, bro. Thank you. I appreciate it. Mr. Anderson says, Waller or Higbee, bro. I guess I'm going to go with Higbee, man, because I don't like what's going on with Derek Carr. So I'm going to have to go with Higbee. That offense looked good with Baker Mayfield and Sean McVay. CHB, he says, what up, bro? Man, Christian Watson keeps catching the injury big. Yeah, it happens, man. I think they held him out because they know he's special, and they felt like they could win that game. He was back on the sideline standing around. If it was that hurt, he would have been in the locker room getting x-rays. So I think he's fine. I think it was more for precaution. It's hips. When it comes to hip injuries, bro, they very, very careful, especially since what happened with Bo Jackson. And Mr. Anderson says, should I play Evans next week with Horn out or roll with someone like Dotson? So listen, guys, I'm going to give you some context clues. Me and Mr. Anderson might be playing each other next week. This is time, bro. You're getting close where I'm going to go 1 week. I'm not going to give you no fantasy football advice because I know the players you got on your team. You got a great team, bro. But I'm going to answer this one. Dotson all day long. I seen Dotson in your lineup. He's a beast. So it's a no-brainer to me. It's Dotson all day. But bro, yeah, it's gonna be tough, man. I can't give you the advice to beat me, then you're gonna talk junk to me for the rest of the season. Guys, make sure you sign up for these distant leagues. It's gonna be gas. CHB says injury bug. Yeah, I got you, bro. I understood what you meant. Yes, sir. Isaac says just subbed and And like, glad I found you. Thank you, bro. I appreciate that. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I try to provide good content. I try to. All right, guys. Well, I guess I've got to majority of the questions. I went through some things. Right here before I get off the video, I just want to go through my winners for the week 16 real quick. Okay, so my quarterbacks were Baker Mayfield. He's playing against the Los Angeles Chargers next week. Daniel Jones was another winner for me. He's playing against Indianapolis next week. Sam Darnold is playing against Sam Darnold. He's playing against Tampa Bay, which is a good, solid matchup. They're not a green bean, but I think they can still be had. Gardner Minshew playing against New Orleans. If he starts, I feel great about starting him. And Dak Prescott had a great week. Only one turnover this week, even though it was a big turnover, but he still came back and had 3 touchdowns. And he's playing against Tennessee that has a weak secondary. That's how you beat them. That's how you exploit Tennessee. All right, moving on to my running backs. Cam Akers. So, guys, Cam Akers is playing against the Chargers. He's hot. I think he's going to be part of a committee going into this team next year. But as far as next week, I'm playing him. He's playing against the Chargers. That run defense is not special. Deontay Foreman. Yes, he went off last week. So this week I'm playing him, even though it's this against Tampa Bay, which is a good, pretty decent run defense. I'm still playing him because the Panthers have a great run offense. So if I have Deontay Foreman, I'm just gonna go ahead and put him in my flex and play him. He was a winner from this week too. Also, Devin Singletary. Yes, Devin Singletary playing against Cincinnati and James Cook are both on this list. You squeeze in that, you're playing each of those guys, you put them in the flex, and don't worry about what happened. Cincinnati defense is okay. They not like no green bean matchup. But when you got Josh Allen, the running backs are gonna have lanes all day, almost every single game. Going forward, with my next guy is A.J. Dillon. He's playing against Minnesota. Love him. He's a running back, and he's a cold weather running back. He's 240 pounds. He runs hard, and when they give him the ball and he scores a touchdown, they win 95% of the time. Next, for my wide receivers, Isaiah Hodgins. And I believe Isaiah Hodgins is a good star. You have to start him now. He's a flex player or a low-end wide receiver too. He's playing against Indianapolis, and he's a PPR monster for the Giants. Next is Devontae Smith. With Gardner Minshew's out there, he's a wide receiver 1. If Gardner Minshew not the starter, it's Jalen Hurts. He's a wide receiver 2. So either way, Devontae is a starter, and New Orleans does not scare me. Next is Greg Dortch playing against Atlanta. With Trace McSorley or Colt McCoy, it doesn't matter. I think that Greg Dortch would be a good start because he's a guy that they're going to be throwing the ball close to the line of scrimmage with these weaker quarterbacks starting. So I like Greg Dortch. Last 2 is Jahan Dotson against Cleveland. I think he has a rob. He is a monster, and I think he's going to be booming. So guys, I think we about to see the next evolution of this offense with Jahan Dotson maybe be the number 1. I said what I said over Terry McLaurin. He might be number 1. And yes, Mr. Anderson, I said it. He might be number 1. Drake London, last but not least, wide receiver. Guys, he's the number 1 on that team. You play him, and he's a great flex play. Guys, everybody's not going to have the top guys. So these guys is going to be booming too. So you want to have these guys. So just don't go to top guys and just, Tyreek Hill and Stephon Diggs. Yeah, those guys are great. You start these guys. But guys like Drake London and Jahan Dotson are good starters too. So Drake London played against Arizona where I feel like they defeated. I'm playing Drake London. All right, tight ends is Tyler Higbee playing against the Chargers. You can't doubt this guy's a starter. I don't think he suck or anything. But he's not no great tight end or anything, but he's just on a tight end and he's starting and you can play him. And you see what happened this week. He hasn't had a game like that his whole career, but he boomed this week. George Kittle playing against the Las Vegas Raiders, going to eat. TJ Hawkinson was a winner. Green Bay, he's not the number 1, so that makes him actually even be better that he's not the number 1 on the team. He was the number 1 in Detroit, which I was trying to make him be the number 1. And Pat Freiermuth going against Baltimore this coming up week. That doesn't even scare me either. Pat Freiermuth is going to catch 6 to 8 balls with Pickens at the lineup. With Pickett as the quarterback, Pat Freiermuth is going to have 6 to 8 catches every week. And Evan Ingram, guys, is booming out. He's going going to be a great play going against Houston next week. Even though Houston doesn't give up a lot of passing yards, I still think Evan Ingram should catch 6 to 8 balls. So you start him too. All right. Let me see. Mr. Anderson said, "No, bro, this is my other league." Yeah, I don't care. I seen him on your team. And Isaac says, stick with Kamara or play Chuba. I say stick with Kamara because this team can make the playoffs. They feel like if Tampa Bay can lose a couple games, these last couple games, if Carolina beat Tampa Bay, New Orleans got a chance to be in the playoffs. So I'm gonna stick with Kamara, bro. But I would try to get Chuba in there if I could, but I'm not playing him over Kamara. He says also Cook is out there. Yeah, go pick up Cook. Now listen, know what he is. He's very volatile, but he got boom. So I will only play him as a flex play. What's going on, Devo? He said, what's good, bro? Made it to the championship in an 18-team guillotine league. Let's go. Yes, sir, bro. Yes, sir. All right, guys, I'm going to get out of here. Y'all be safe. I will be going live tomorrow. I'm going to be doing some videos on, like, some strategies, certain players, recapping, just some different stuff for the last championship week, guys. Let me see. All right, Mr. Anderson. He says, Mike White, Wentz, Darnold, or Baker in the ship. Need the biggest boom. I'm talking 3 touchdowns. Let me see here. It might be Baker Mayfield, bro. Mike White is good. I don't know if I can tell you to count on that in the championship. Carson Wentz. I like Carson Wentz, but it's championship week. Sam Darnold. The only guy I'm willing to trust, man, right now. The only guy that I'm willing to trust right now, guys, is Baker Mayfield out of that list, bro. That's who I would go with. So I'm going to rank them for you. Baker Mayfield, Mike White, Sam Darnold, and Carson Wentz. That's how I would rank them. And Isaac says, Cook burned me before. Again, remember what I talked about, bro. I get it. Bro, you can, if you go off of when a player disappoints you, it'll mess you winning fantasy football championships because you'll have an attachment that's telling you, I don't want that player. Well, you got to just look at it and see what's going on and see if that guy's a good matchup for you. Right? So James Cook, man, playing against Cincinnati, I think he can hit. I think he's going to have plenty of opportunities. That's just me. I don't think you could go off of what he did to you a couple of weeks ago. I think that just kind of is like blinding you from reality, bro. I think you got to play Cook. Now, I'm not saying he's the best play. If you got other options that's better, then go with those. But I would not look in the past what James Cook did and make an opinion about starting him this week. Bro, just look who played good this week. What about somebody that wanted to play Baker Mayfield? He did good. Dak Prescott, he did good. Cam Akers, he did good. Deontay Foreman, he had dudded people for the last 2 to 3 weeks. He did good against a great matchup. He had a bad matchup. He had Detroit. They had been shut down running backs. So, bro, you can't go off the pass. It'll mess you up. The reason why I'm saying going to James Cook is because he's so explosive. I'm not looking at like what the defense matchup. I'm looking at how explosive that player is and what do the coaches want to do. The coaches want to take pressure off of Josh Allen, so they need James Cook. That's the only reason why I'm making the decision. I'm not going to look at any past games. I think that'll mess up my decision making. Let me see. CHB says, will Deshaun Watson have a better game this week? He should. Because of the weather, he should have a better game. And Mr. Anderson says, Tua is back in concussion protocol. Yes. He had a bad game, man. That's probably what could have happened. I don't know. But it is what it is, bro. We have to find somebody. He says, what about Teddy? No, I wouldn't play Teddy. I probably would try to go with Baker or somebody. But listen, my opinion could change it throughout this week. So let's just kind of wait throughout the week and see what happens. And Isaac says, you right, bro. You right. Thanks, bro. No, anytime, bro. Anytime. Mr. Anderson says, what about Teddy? Thanks, bro. Teddy could be a good play, but right now I'm gonna say go with Baker. But that could change out through the week. So hit me up Thursday. We'll keep going through this, bro. So that's why I like to come on live much as I can, because my answers could change from day to day. It just depends on what's going on with the coach speak is and all that and injuries. And Isaac says he's like every other game. Bro, don't look at, see, this another, thank you. I got to write this down. Let me write this down. Don't look at, when you make a decision, don't look at, okay, every 2 games. Don't look at it. It's something else, the reason why that guy is hitting those particular games. Don't look at every 3rd game, 4th game. That's just a number that we can compute. What's going on, bro, is game script. So try to find out a pattern when James Cook, boom, what was the game script? What was the score of that game? And if you believe the score of that game can happen this coming up game, then you play James Cook. Don't look at every 2 games or every 1 game or Josh Allen got mad. No, it's about the game script. So if they winning, look and see what James Cook do when they blow people out. Then look and see what James Cook do when they losing bad. Then look and see what James Cook does when it's close. Listen, man, I just gave you my OnlyFans stuff. This is stuff that I'm going to be talking about, guys, throughout the offseason about strategies and stuff. So don't look at no kind of every other game or 2 games. Look at the game script. That's the biggest thing that what makes me feel good about players and talent. Talent and game script. Let me see. Baby Rock, what's going on, bro? He said, can Minshew be a good backup for Tua? Yes, he can. I think they go look for a quarterback in the draft, or they could try to move Minshew to them, but I don't think so. I think they're gonna ride Tua out and get somebody else to try to push Tua. I don't think they go get Minshew, but Minshew, it can be a good backup for Tua. Yes, he can. And if you're talking about just for as fantasy purposes on your end, I'm sorry, maybe I missed the question. Yeah, bro, Minshew is a great backup for Tua. If Tua don't play for you this week for a championship week, play Minshew if he started. I feel good about that. Go down with that ship. And Isaac says every game is its own life. There you go, bro. I agree 100%. But there are patterns each game. Like if they up, bro, certain teams do certain things. That's usually 60 to 70% of the time. If a team is up, they're gonna run the ball a little bit more than they do when they down. Right? So to me, it's something that you can pull from each game. And that's why I come over here and I talk my stuff to try to get y'all to pick up on those things about squeeze and when it's time to squeeze a backfield. When I'm going to play a guy that's very volatile. Like I talked about Kadarius Toney. The reason why I played Kadarius Toney, it wasn't that I'm the smartest man in the world or Andy Reid called me and told me that he was going to give Kadarius Toney a touchdown. The reason why I played Kadarius Toney, and I hoped for more points than what he gave me, but the reason why I was on Kadarius Toney because there was no Mecole Hardman. And I know when they get around that red zone, they like to use Mecole Hardman or Kadarius Toney, that position, to give them gadget plays to get them to score. Because before Mecole Hardman went down, Mecole Hardman was averaging like 2 touchdowns a game for 3 weeks. Because that's what they was doing. So that's why I like Kadarius Toney with Mecole Hardman when he wasn't healthy. They said he was going to sit out this week. Gabriel, he said, I was down by 30 points. I had Dylan, Watson, and Connor left. My opponent had Tua. Connor took me to the championship game. Yes, sir. The best trade I ever made in week 8. Gave up Edwards and Dotrich. Let's go. Yes, sir, bro. That's what you got to do. You got to listen. You got to do what you feel good for your team. And I'm proud of you, bro. I'm proud of you. Yes, sir. Good job, bro. Baby Rock says Tua is questionable in my league. It's Minshew mania. Yes, sir. Yep. I like Minshew as a backup if Jalen Hurts don't play. And Gabriel said it was Tua, make it or break it year. Will Miami still hold on to him? Yes. Guys, come on. He didn't that game with, I mean, I know he had a bad game, guys, but he had an extraordinary year. It's not a make it or break it situation. Tua is a great quarterback. And I mean, like, I'm not saying great like Josh Allen them level. But for as what Tua did, you want Tua or do you want Trace McSorley? Right? It's tough out here for a quarterback. So Tua's gonna be fine until they find an alpha. They're looking for an alpha. They're not gonna replace Tua with like probably a Gardner Minshew. I don't think they're gonna do that. I wouldn't do it. Man, if they could get like a Joe Burrow caliber type quarterback, somebody like that, then yeah, they'll make the move. They can trade for Lamar Jackson, yes. But they're not doing a lateral trade just because Tua had a bad game in week 16. They still are okay. Tua could come out next week and throw for 400 yards for 5 touchdowns. That's just how football goes. But yeah, but I understand what you were saying though, Gabriel. I just think Tua, he just only had maybe like 2 or 3 bad games this year. Well, Josh Allen has had a bunch of games, and nobody's came and said, well, what they gonna do with Josh Allen? Josh Allen's had some bad games. He's had some bad losses. There's other quarterbacks. Justin Herbert has had some bad losses. Gabriel says, but he got weapons which make him look awesome, like the TD to Waddle. Yes, I agree, bro. But hey, people still have to be able to get the ball to these guys. Just don't assume because you got a strong arm, you're gonna be able to get the ball. Tua got good anticipation. He does things as well to make this offense hit. I can't explain it, guys, but the reason why that I said Tua is gonna have a good season, even though people didn't think he could get the ball deep, because I knew he had good anticipation. But maybe you don't see the game that way, which I understand, right? Maybe you see, well, Justin Herbert will come. No, Justin Herbert is no guarantee that Justin Herbert could do what Tua did for this team. Justin Herbert don't got that touch. So you got to understand that. Like, because you got a strong arm and you big and strong don't mean you're going to get the ball down to Tyreek and Waddle. Tua gets that ball out there so they can catch it, so he can take off for 80. You got to have those good balls that I can catch out in front of me that I can keep running with. Isaac says, is it bad to say I want Minshew to start over Hurts because I have Smith too? No, that's just fantasy. That's how I feel you, bro. I feel you. That's fantasy talk. And no pun intended, right? I get it. When you have certain players in fantasy, we're not wishing for guys to get hurt, but if they come out the game and can't come back, we'll take it. But that's not wishing nobody an injury. So I get what you're saying, bro. It's not bad. He said, but Hurts is him. Yeah, so yes. So yeah, Hurts is probably gonna be out. I think that's what you meant. But yeah, I understand, bro. There's nothing wrong with that. All right, guys. I guess I'm gonna get out of here. Hopefully, I helped some of y'all out with some of the decisions that you're gonna have in your championship game. I appreciate everybody tuning in. Guys, y'all be safe. Peace.